Nerdo Strito.
You know Spanish? I look Mexican.
Konnichiwa.
Little Pedro.
Vote Pedro.
Vote for Pedro. What are we talking about today, Brett?
Right, today we are talking about James Gunn.
Oh, good.
And we, a couple weeks ago we talked about how he got fired from Disney, and that whole thing has caused kind of a
bigger splash than I thought.
splash, yeah, in Hollywood, and so some news and different things are coming out. So why don't you take it away, Nick?
Yeah, I did not know that the entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy would go as far as to petition to bring back James Gunn to helm the next Guardians. That really baffles me, but at the same time, it's Hollywood, and all the actors there tend to not surprise me with some of their decisions politically and otherwise. James Gunn made light of pedophilia, child abuse, and had, overall crazy meltdowns online through Twitter. And I can't understand why, if I was in a James Gunn film and he got fired like he did, and I ask why, or we find out why, the minute you hear child abuse, pedophilia, overall crazy stuff that you're not used to seeing every day and dealing with, why in turn would I be like Bautista and be like, no, I'm not doing Guardians until you bring that guy that likes to make jokes about little children and pedophilia, unless you bring him back? I just don't get this one at all. I understand how they could be a close-knit group / maybe family because they've done a couple Guardians, but I don't care who you are. Once you find out that a person you've worked with and trusted is not who you think they are, you know what I mean? Or they have quirks about them that could be detrimental to you and your life and your image. I do not get this one. I want him as far away from me and my work as possible.
Well, now look at it this way. First off, to clarify for those who didn't see our previous video about the James Gunn situation, this was stuff that he put on Twitter like 5 to 10 years ago. All right, but it was a lot of tweets, hundreds and hundreds of tweets. Now, from what I've heard is that the cast and people who know him saying that that's just his style of humor, and having a dark, twisted sense of humor shouldn't be a fireable offense. It's not illegal. They may have context. He may make these kind of jokes on set, for all we know. But that's the whole issue. We don't know about it, and the fact that Dave Bautista has gone so far as to say, from what I heard, they said if at this point it's a done deal, he's not coming back to direct. But Bautista's saying if they don't use the Guardians 3 script that James Gunn did, Bautista is quitting the franchise.
Oh, I read a story that said if he doesn't get brought back to working with them in the franchise, that he's not gonna. It has nothing to do with that. I didn't know it had anything to do with if they keep the same script he penned or not. I thought he literally wants him back directing.
Yeah, he's not going to come back.
I know that. Disney's not going to say but it doesn't mean you can't not petition. You know? And I firmly believe that they're all petitioning because they love this guy and they want him back to work. And they may be little babies that just don't want to get used to a new director and are comfortable. If that's the case, I'm not with anyone in this cast. And to tell you the truth, I'm not with anyone in this cast based on the initial decision to petition. Another thing I want to add, this is really funny. Another point against James Gunn for me is he's literally blaming Twitter.
Yeah.
He's blaming Twitter about his decision to tweet what he tweeted. So he's talking about today, him and his manager are so done with this bullshit, as he says, and he hates Twitter and it's ruined his life. No, buddy. What your little fingers did on the keyboard that came from your mind ruined your image, not Twitter. I'm disappointed in a lot of the Marvel cast now. Very disappointed. At least the Guardian of the Galaxy, all the way from Chris Pratt up to the raccoon, voiced by, what's his name? He's not in much anymore from The Hangover.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, he was in American Sniper. And, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, actually, he's kind of still a big deal in Hollywood. Yep. The other interesting thing is they're saying that James Gunn is going to be in high demand. Now, right now, Disney is in exit negotiations with James Gunn's lawyers and their lawyers and such, because apparently it was not a breach of his contract for things that he tweeted 5 years ago.
But that's also, you mentioned that he didn't do anything against the law, and you know that you don't have to do anything against the law.
No, I know, but when it comes to a contract, something like that, so it is looking like because he is not being fired for breach of contract, Disney is still going to have to pay him, and they estimate it's going to be between $7 and $10 million.
Kudos to Disney. They're not willing to keep someone of his worth, I guess, socially. They're willing to take a $10 million hit. I love that, Disney. Good for you.
$10 million, that's a 3-hour income for Disney.
I'm telling you, there's production companies that have hundreds of billions and would not take that $10 million cut and figure out a way.
Sure.
That's how much they're grubby.
Right.
I think it's a kudos to Disney, even though they have more money and $10 million is like $10 to them. Kudos to them, I think, for standing by their decision and go ahead and paying out on a contract that's on someone that's unworthy to be a Disney employee. And I think it's apparent that he seems to be not worthy of the Disney label because they deal in kids. Kids is their bread and butter, so you can't tweet about kids that way.
Now the interesting thing is a lot of studios have anonymously, off the record said they're very interested in bringing him on.
Look at the state of entertainment. You don't think a company like HBO is drooling at the mouth for a guy like James Gunn? They specialize in nudity and foul language. It's a paid service for that.
Actually, where I think he's going to end up, and one of the names that was mentioned, although again it's not official, Warner Brothers, which does DC.
Okay,
here's a successful Marvel director. If they have a chance to take him away,
they'll do it. They'll do it. This is not going to happen.
They can't officially. No company or studio or anybody can talk to Gunn officially while he's still officially under contract with Disney, which he is as of right now. Okay. As soon as that's all done and the exit negotiations have been hammered out and he's officially off contract, they can make him offers all day long. And
he'll get them. He'll get them. Unfortunately, that's what sells is his type of humor, writing, comedy, I guess. It doesn't sell to me. I'm not big on it. I don't think he is the way he was on Twitter now because he's able to pen such a family-friendly franchise. And then it's really not who he is. There's two very extremes, and I think it proves that James Gunn knows when to switch it on and switch it off, which is why he's able to write such a family-friendly script and be such a different person when he's at home and who he is on Twitter and how he really feels and likes to type and talk and write. It doesn't reflect his work and his personal life at all, and I think he is the sole controller of that, which proves a little more about his darkness. He knows, look, I can't be myself when I write Guardians, so I'm going to switch over and write something a 12-year-old with her dad or mom could laugh at, So I think there's a lot there that no one's talking about. The fact that he knows better and knows when to write the soft stuff and knows when to turn it on and really be who he is outside of work, which is not against the law. You can be who you want. I just think if you're that type of person where you like to tweet about that kind of stuff, I don't think you should tweet it. I think you should be in your personal journal at home. I think if you're that type of way, I don't think you should put that on a social platform and not expect this to happen.
It definitely doesn't belong on the social platform. Now, devil's advocate, because I agree with most of what you're saying.
You don't have to, but I understand.
These, like I said, these tweets came out 8, 10, 12 years ago. He may be a different man today.
Yes, he may be. Very.
But the past can still come back to haunt us, especially when it comes to stupidity on social media. We talked about this in our last video about James Gunn. The internet is forever.
It is.
And there are consequences. So regardless of if that's how he is today or if he's mellowed out and stopped making such distasteful jokes and whatever, regardless of any of that, there are consequences for his actions that he did 10, 12 years ago. And to blame everybody else for it is stupid. Nobody forced him to post those tweets. Nobody has come out and said, oh, his account was hacked or anything like that. He's pretty much owned up to, he did these. He's just saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And Dave Bautista and the rest of the cast are saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And Disney is saying, yes, it is a big deal, you're fired.
And Dave Bautista, if he wrote tweets like that himself a few years ago, I think he'd feel very different about what's going on right now. He has no clue what it feels like, I don't think. Unless he does tweet like this, I don't know. But I think it's easy for everyone to for his cast, I don't think they really understand what he's going through. I think they think it's lighter than it is, which is why they think they could just ask Disney to bring back that type of guy.
Well, again, devil's advocate, they are closer to him than we are.
True.
We really don't understand what he's going through. All we see is the black and white evidence, the paper trail.
Yeah.
We've never interacted with him on a day-to-day basis.
Never, ever. On his apology, he said that he was at a place back then, and he's not completely fixed, but he is a different person. He's come a long way since then.
I've got a good friend that essentially all we do when we message online is insult each other and threaten each other with grisly death and stuff.
I get that.
And we said, we once said, hey, if the FBI ever hacks our accounts and looks at these, or if one of us ever turns up missing, the other one is totally going to jail.
You know what? That's funny, and that's a good thing to bring up in this video. I'm not that way. I have friends that we talk, we text each other certain ways, and I get it. I have a lot of friends that's how they interact with each other. They cut each other down and make fun of each other, but it's all love, all good fun. I myself don't have that relationship with anyone and never had as a kid. Maybe it's my fault. I'm too serious, too businesslike. I don't know. I have no clue when I'm in a relationship with a friend. But I'm glad you brought it up because I do understand that, even though I don't have those relationships with people, and it makes me kind of feel bad for Gunn, because what if it was that lighthearted? But then how could it be when you're by yourself tweeting it to the world?
Right, he wasn't just tweeting it to a specific person.
It was like,
or whatever.
so
He was just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Hey, children and gays and
Children and gays and
Children
backflips
and
and mermaids. But you know what? I do pick up on a lot of James Gunn's snootiness to society. Because if you looked at his Twitter account, his whole bio description was, I like people to know when I'm drinking coffee. That's it. So it's like, hey guys, I have Twitter too. I really love Twitter, but I really want you to think that it's trendy, and I don't want it either. It's like, you're so full of shit, dude. You're so full of shit that you're blaming Twitter that you can't tweet anymore. It's funny.
Right.
It is. I don't mean to cut down too much, but actually, yes, I do. I think what James Gunn did is wrong, and I don't think he should be hired back. My position on it.
So that's just a follow-up to the video we did a couple weeks ago. If more develops from this, or if he gets picked up by another studio, we'll probably make a video about it. But thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Our last James Gunn video, because we talked about social consequences, got a lot of views.
It did. We got our first dislike. I want to talk about that.
Okay.
I do. We've never had, I think we have almost 30 videos, 22?
We're in the mid-20s now.
Mid-20s, okay? Out of all our videos, we have never got a dislike. Now, we do a James Gunn social consequences video, the most positive and fair video we ever made, I think. It's got both sides to it. We're not blaming anyone. We're not sticking to a definitive side. We're just talking about how culture is today. And we got a dislike, and it's because, I believe, it's because some people feel so strongly about these discussions, these topics. And that's cool. I enjoyed it. I love debating, and I love pushing back,
Sure.
Because all it does is make you reiterate your research and be on top of your game more. Maybe you can learn something from someone else. But whoever you are, man.
Well, I think we can infer from this that obviously James Gunn watches our channel.
Yeah,
he was the one that did the dislike.
He was the one. Yep, for sure. He was writing the new Batman, the new Joker movie that he's gonna get hired for probably.
Anyway, hit that like button or hit dislike if you're really if you
feel
James
so
Gunn's
inclined.
Right. But hit the notification, hit subscribe, and
if you do put a dislike, you know what force is coming after you.
Oh yeah, that's the